Synthdog here. It's been quite a while since I've done a video on this channel. I had a long summer. I was going through the process of moving to a new university, and I was finishing up graduating at my old one. So I'm finally getting settled in my new place here, new state, new school. You may notice the audio quality is quite a bit diminished. Normally I use a AKG large diaphragm mic, but today I'm using an SM58 velcroed to a broken microphone stand through a karaoke adapter. You know, sometimes you got to make do with what you have, and that's essentially what this video is going to be about. Ideally, if you had a synthesizer and you wanted to run a tape echo, you'd be running some kind of analog polysynth, probably through some kind of like reel-to-reel, or who honestly knows, but stuff that's way out of my pay grade. What I do have is an old DX7 and a Marantz portable field recorder that's 3-head. So I'm going to show you how you can use these two things to get an analog tape delay sound. Now, you don't have to have the exact things I have. Of course, you could do this with a different kind of instrument that has some sort of output. As long as you have a 3-head tape deck and some sort of interface with at least 2 inputs, you should be good. And I'm going to be using a Scarlett 2i2 because I know probably a lot of people watching this have that. It's very standard, works well, and it's really all you need to do this kind of thing. It's also worth noting that this only allows 1 delay speed, because no matter what speed you're running the tape at, it's going to be coming over the playhead at the same rate as it's being recorded. So you can't have fixed delay speeds. You could turn the pitch knob and get sort of a warbling effect, but you're probably going to be playing your instrument, and that's not really going to be effective. So really, this is more of just a simple color effect. You may want to add some reverb after this or some other kind of delay to fill it out more. But this is really just the simplest way to get actual tape delay for your synthesizer, that I've found at least. So on top of the hardware, you're going to need a few cables. I've got 2 1/4-inch cables and 1 RCA to mini jack that I've adapted to a full-size 1/4-inch jack. You'll use these line outs on the line out of your tape player because that'll give you the best output. If you don't have one of those, or you want it to be noisier, you could use the headphone output for that. But I prefer a little less noise on my signal overall. It's just a personal preference thing, and it's worth experimenting with. So let's get to plugging everything in. It's important to note that the synthesizer you're using will either have to have 2 separate outputs, or you'll have to split that. DX7 has 2 separate outputs, so that's how I'll be doing it here. The first connection you'll need to make is between your first output and the input on your tape player. If you're following along with a PMD-430, I plugged that into the left input on the microphone socket with 15 decibels of attenuation. I'd recommend some attenuation because it's expecting a microphone level and not a line level output, so that signal might be coming in a little bit too hot for it. You can attenuate it with the volume on your synth though. The second output on your synthesizer is going to go into one of the inputs on your interface. And the final connection that we have to make is between the line out on the tape recorder and one of the other inputs on your interface. Okay, so now that we've got all that set up, it's time to choose a tape and set up the recorder to record. So if you're using a cassette recorder, you'll have to select which tape formulation you want to use. I wish that I could use a good chrome tape like this one, but I've only got a few of these, and they're all already recorded on with music, so I wouldn't want to record over that. So I'm just going to use a standard Ferric Maxell UR. Nothing special about this, just a typical Type 1. It is a bit older, though, so it's a bit lower noise than some of the newer ones, but honestly, with this kind of thing, sometimes more noise is better. Let's go ahead and load that up. Now you'll want to advance a bit until you advance past the leader on the tape. And that should be good. Put it in pause and then hit record. Now, how are we going to set our levels? Well, it really depends on what you're going for. I like to keep mine under the saturation point at 2 decibels or so. But if you want to go over, you can get some nice tape overdrive in your delay sound. But for this demonstration, I'm going to keep it under that point, and I've already got that set. You can use the meters on your tape recorder to set that, but hopefully if you're watching this, you already have an idea of how to set levels on a tape. But we're going to make sure the monitor is in tape mode. And it is. And then we're going to set the machine off recording. Now, you may want to use some noise reduction on the tape. I'm already doing that. My machine uses DBX, which I usually use for this type of thing, and you'll see if I take that off, there's a ton of noise on this tape. So it's really a good idea to use the best noise reduction that you have available. But you'll see we already have delay happening. And really, that's all we need to do. We've already got tape delay configured and ready to go. And obviously, it's going to sound better up here in the higher range of the keyboard. Now, if we want, we can crank the record level on our tape recorder and get some overdrive on the delay sound. You'll have to cut the level on the Scarlett box accordingly as well. Anyways, as you can see, you can get some real power out of that if you've got a nice analog patch on your DX7. If you liked this square wave patch, I'm going to make a video on it in the future, so stay tuned for that if you want to have it on your own DX7. But really, that's all there is to it. I mean, that's the most basic way to get actual analog tape delay for a synthesizer. And it works pretty well if you've got one of these patches on your DX7. It makes it sound a bit more like an analog synth with some delay after it versus a digital emulation of that. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. There should be more coming down the pipeline once I get over these allergies. But I've got a few patches I've been working on for this that I'm pretty excited to show y'all. But anyways, hope you enjoyed and have a great day.
But that's not why he's in business. He's in business to make money. That is the basis of the capitalistic system, the profit